Welcome. My name is Georges Verbena, and this is a video on the Wounded Warrior Archetype. Mars conjunction Chiron, or Aries conjunction Chiron. I'm talking about this aspect as somebody who has a Mars conjunction Chiron in the natal chart. Born with it, so I know what the archetype of a wounded warrior is. This is represented by a tarot card, which is the Nine of Wands. And the Nine of Wands in tarot is about somebody who's continuously fighting against opposition, who keeps fighting, but no matter how much he fights, he's still doomed to lose. So somebody who is a wounded warrior is somebody who expects defeat, no matter what he does. Somebody who may give up on fighting altogether because the outcome is unfavorable. But with the warrior, we must keep on fighting, even when it looks like the odds are stacked against us. Because Chiron, any kind of wound, doesn't matter where you have Chiron in the natal chart, is about somebody who gives up. You know? The Nine of Wands speaks about the card where you're almost at the end. You have almost made it. If you could just keep fighting, would it be alright? No, it would not. Because again, the odds are stacked against you. But it's not about the result. It's not about good or bad outcome. It's about continuing to fight, even when you're down. Because it's fire element. And fire has to burn itself out in order to heal. Yeah? Because if it doesn't burn itself out, it gets stuck in the head or somewhere else in the body. So if you are a wounded warrior, you may suffer from some kind of disease, perhaps. Disease of the head, inflammation in the head, inflammation in the genitals, inflammation of the blood, the veins, issues with your circulatory system or your adrenal glands. Because Mars controls all of these things. And somebody who deep down believes that he's doomed to failure, that he cannot win, will not fight the battles because it's too scary. Because there is a lesson in defeat. Sometimes you need to be defeated in order to heal. That's the Tower in Tarot. That's the lesson of a wounded warrior, is to understand that, like in this card, his tower, his ivory tower, right, is founded on a shaky foundation at best. It's built on ice. And a bit of fire and the ice melts and the tower collapses. So it's very shaky, you know. Wounded warriors are shaky people. They are afraid of confrontation. Because they know a little bit of fire is more than enough to destroy the tower. So they don't want the fire to be expressed. They block themselves. So the fire gets stuck somewhere in the body, creating inflammation. Because the fire is your body's first defense against invaders. Toxins, fevers, boundaries with narcissists and abusers. All of it requires fire. But fire isn't dangerous. Fire is creation. Fire is joy, vitality, life force, power, like the sun. So it's nothing to be feared. But the wounded warrior is very afraid of his fire. That would be the emperor in reverse. Somebody who's just not taking charge, who lets other people take charge. However, in some cases, the fire can be so blocked that it works against the person, but it builds up inside like a deep rage. And even the tiniest obstacle, the tiniest threat can set it off. The shadow of a warrior is the sadist, who attacks everything and everybody around him. A workaholic, somebody who is addicted to doing more and more and more. The one who sits in the office getting all this work done because he's driven by anxiety. And this anxiety never stops. This is somebody who can barely sleep. Restless nights, restless at day, always restless, always on the move, never able to settle down and sit still. There's many manifestations of a wounded warrior, but this is one of the most common. The person attacks everything and it's just like, go, 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 we need to do more. And the moment some obstacle comes, he's like, ah! You know, like, ah! Gets really angry. Impulsive. The wounded warrior is defensive. He's always defending himself. Oh no, like, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? I need to fight. Like, he's at the bottom. Like the Nine of Wands, he's surrounded by obstacles and it's like overwhelming. Because he rejects the fire within, which is causing him so much frustration, so much irritation, so much anxiety. He doesn't want to be driven by the fire. He tries to escape it. Tries to run away from it. This could also be the other shadow of this polarity. The opposite polarity of the sadist is the coward, the escapist. Somebody who always runs away from confrontation, who never confronts, who never talks, never addresses anything. But then behind your back he will triangulate you, gossip behind your back, talk with somebody else. And then maybe one day he explodes all of nowhere and you're like, but this was such a sweet person, how did he suddenly explode? What happened? Because when it comes to everyday pursuits, small matters, person doesn't fight. Only fights when it's too late. When already the tower has broken down. So what do we do to heal this wounded warrior, if you have it? If you identify with any of this in this video, don't feel judged. I mean, most people that I deal with have a problem like this. I have Mars conjunction Chiron, so I am included. It's very simple. Reconnect to the frustration. Reconnect to the motivation that you deny yourself, the desire that you don't like to see. Because to desire is to suffer. Because fire hurts. Just accept the hurt. Don't be passive. Don't be like just meditating it away. Act on it. Don't be like, I will act on it, I will explode more. You don't need to be a drama queen. Just tell your narcissist or your friend or whoever, hey, I didn't like this. It irritated me. Please stop it. Honor your fire. And when they don't like it and they move away, let them walk away. Separate. Allow yourself to be separate. Fight for your identity. fight for your fire. Your fire wants to be represented. All the elements need to be represented. So you need to take action. So some people, they could become gym freaks, health freaks. Again, trying to escape the fire. Oh, I am irritated, let me just compensate. Let me maybe work my ass off to just not feel this anxiety. No, it's about doing what you want and accepting the negative, which will always be negative, consequences. Why? In astrology, Mars is malefic. The warrior is a malefic archetype. Because it creates conflicts, troubles, struggles. Life is supposed to be a struggle. At least for a while. At least sometimes. Doesn't have to always be a struggle. But if you don't know how to struggle effectively, if you don't act on that struggle, if you don't try to overcome by pushing like the emperor to get what you want, even if obstacles come in front of you, if you don't keep on fighting, then yes, this will always be blocked. The wound of a warrior is a wound that says, I can fight as much as I want, this is not going to work. This is a delusion. It's repetition compulsion. Childhood trauma. Oh yeah, you couldn't fight your parents because your parents were enemies. So what? Now you fight. And you fight for small things. Yes, then fight for small things. I used to have my whole face being red, swollen, kind of bloated, my eyes burning. It's gone. Why? For the most part, like 90%. 10% is still there. Because this wound is stubborn. It's not going away easily. You need to keep on fighting. You need to keep on going for what you desire and acting on it. It's like somebody who repressed his desire function, who ignores his frustrations, bites his tongue, chews, swallows, ignores, waits. This is the wounded warrior. Somebody who's just waiting to take action, who's tactical, but not detached. He's not really tactical. He's just a coward, convincing himself, yeah, I'm just waiting for the right moment. I'm just trying to be more in tune and just, I don't want to deal with the drama. I just want peace. No. You are a coward. Yes. We are all cowards. When we don't allow our aggression to be expressed. You have aggression. Do you express it or hide it? These are the two choices. So every time you feel like, let me wait this out, ask yourself, are you hiding? Or is this really, objectively, the healthiest course of action? Don't think if it's going to give you favorable outcomes. Again, Mars is malefic, right? The warrior sometimes dies in battle. Sometimes there is a lesson in defeat, again. Because if you want to defend your village, you must risk death. Scorpio, highest expression of a warrior. Highest expression is death. Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. Highest expression is destruction. Yes. So accept it. And then ask yourself, is destruction a healthy evolution? Yes or no? Healthy for who? For your bank account? No. For your relationship to be more harmonious? Hell no. So what's the point of healing the warrior within? It's about integrity. It's about justice. It's about morals, principles. Remember the samurai in Japan. The samurai is the best historical representation of a healthy warrior that we have. Honor, honesty, self-control, but not self-suppression. Detachment, not from the self, but from the outcome. Identity, but not delusion. I am a warrior, but I could be a magician if I wanted to. I'm a scholar when I go to my family, but when necessary. You know? Tatakai, they say in Japan. Tatakai, fight. There's a whole culture around it. Honor. Yeah, the samurai, the warrior archetype was the most popular in Japan. Everybody wanted to be a warrior. Everybody wanted to be somebody who doesn't live for money, doesn't live for harmony, doesn't live for peace, doesn't live for any material gains, but for honor, for honesty, for reality. So who is it? If you're not fighting for your body because your body is in danger and you're about to die, who are you fighting for? You're fighting for your soul. That is what the warrior represents. So the soul, do you think the soul is afraid of battle? Afraid of death? Your soul has already died an infinitesimal amount of times and is going to die again. So any fear that you have of death is illusory. Perhaps pathological. So fear cannot be in charge of your actions. So you need to ask yourself again, is this really tactical? Is this really a good decision to keep the peace? Or am I just submitting to fear? Feel it in your body when you are in a relationship. Like, are you submitting to the reptile brain? Or are you seeing things clearly in your frontal lobe? The warrior rules the third eye. I can see clearly. I know what's in front of me. I know they're covertly abusing me. I can see it. I don't need to understand. I trust my vision. Do you trust your vision? If you're a wounded warrior? Hell no. Because once you see it, once you accept that you are living with the enemy, you have to fight. Or you have to leave. You have to separate. You can't stay somewhere where you don't belong. But if you are a wounded warrior, it means you did stay in an environment where you didn't belong. As a child, of course, you had to. To survive, you had to forget what you see. You had to forget that your mother or your father is your enemy. That is the only way you can be a wounded warrior. The only way you can have Chiron in Aries or a conjunction Mars in the natal chart is if one of your parents is factually and actually your enemy and they are threatening your life. They're trying to kill you, trying to destroy you. So you learn to ignore that. Yeah, but they're still my parent, they're still my mother. My mother tried to kill me, and I have Mars conjunction Chiron. And I had to ignore it, you know. Okay, but you still feed me. You still give me a home. So I don't die. So I don't get abandoned. I will ignore that you are my enemy. I will try to make peace. Because who do we make peace with? With our enemies, right? Now I have no contact with her. So this is how you heal. Go no contact with the enemy. Speak up. Validate your vision. I know what I see. I know this is a bad person. I identify what they are. I identify what I am. I am not a bad person. They are. Reality, not fucking delusion. Yeah. Not like a narcissist who says, oh, I'm a good person, I'm a good person, I'm a good person. What is telling them they're a good person? Their head. Not their third eye. Their third eye is telling them I'm a bad person. What is your third eye telling you? When you look into the mirror, do you see somebody bad? The first instinct, the first message that you receive, yes or no, is it bad what you see? Bad object? Because as long as you are a bad object, the warrior can never emerge. To be a bad object is to be your own enemy. So in order to make peace without, true peace, not fake peace, you must make peace within. Form an alliance with yourself before you can break the alliance without. You know. So this is how it works. The wounded warrior. Somebody who refuses to be aggressive. Who refuses to attack those who attack him. Who refuses to separate from those who have already separated. It's like an enmeshed little cub. Like a little pet. Like, I'm just gonna stay with you. Sticking like glue to the enemy. It's like Stockholm Syndrome. I'm sure many survivors of World War II have had Mars conjunction Chiron. I'm sure. After all, Mars is a planet of war. To have Mars conjunction Chiron is to be a prisoner of war. To have no choice but to cooperate with the enemy. That is a repetition compulsion of Chiron. Like I said in the beginning of the video, anywhere where Chiron is, you are doomed to repeat the past. You make friends with the enemy again. Tell them, you feel like an enemy, you are mistreating me. Why are you doing what an enemy would do? I'm trying to heal. I'm trying to stop being a Stockholm Syndrome person. What do you think about it? Talk. Confront. Study the reactions. Try to understand who your enemy is. What are they thinking? Learn about war. Because war is about vision. Sun Tzu's art of war is a war of deception. If my enemy doesn't know what I'm gonna do next, I will win. Do you know who your enemy is and what are they gonna do next? If you don't know, then scout ahead. Find out. Because you need knowledge. War is a war of information. And guess why we are trying to silence people who spread misinformation, right? Because of this. This is the art of war. So don't take action if you don't know. Action in the third eye. The third eye is about seeing the correct information. Information is necessary. and then you win. If you don't know who you are, or who you're dealing with, you cannot heal. So know your identity. All of this work that I do, why do I have Mars and Chiron? Because I work with identity trauma. Your identity has been distorted. If you are a wounded warrior, you don't know what your identity is. Am I an enemy of my mother? Well, she attacks me. Am I an enemy? And what am I? What is this? But she's still feeding me. What the hell? It's conflicting messages. She's feeding this object. So is it a good object that she's feeding? But she's also hurting me. She's whooping me. So am I good? Am I bad? What? Everything is a blur. Everything is mixed. The abuse is covert. You see? With one hand they feed you, with the other they slap you, so... No wonder you attract narcissists. No wonder you get stuck in the head. No wonder you're questioning yourself, doubting yourself. Doubt can cripple even the greatest warrior. Don't let it cripple you. Doubt is your enemy. So validate yourself. Remember, in this reality, if you want to get favorable outcomes, if you want justice, you need to fight for it. Nobody is going to give it to you. If you help people, if you serve them, they're not obligated to give you anything back. They'll take from you until you learn to separate from them. And then you attract somebody who doesn't take from you. Mars, connection Chiron. No boundaries, basically. The no function. Mars says no. Mars says, I don't like this. Chiron says, saying no is painful. Saying I don't like this, so difficult. Do it anyways. Because the compulsion is to stay quiet. Compulsion is to go around. Mars is instant. Attack. Go. But don't be obsessed with going and attacking. Again, it's a shadow. Be balanced. Be strategic. Be like calm. Like, okay, I didn't like this. Can you respect my boundaries? Can you respect the fact that I don't like this? Can you stop it? Yes or no? Detach. Be like, it's not about my emotions. It's just about me having to assert justice. Self-respect. If you don't like it, that's fine. It's my ego that I need to assert. Your ego? Then they accuse you of being selfish. You attracted those kind of narcissists already? Who tell you, oh, because you want to be respected, you are selfish? You're egomaniacal? Who do you think you are being respected by me? Because ego is Mars. Aries is the most egotistical sign. Right? So here Chiron shows the wound of not allowing yourself to be in ego. Not acting on your ego. What is this? Do you even have an ego? Weak ego. And when your ego is weak, you'll attract other weak egos who try to take over because of how weak they are, because of how low they are, because they're looking for somebody to dominate. Well, it's easy to dominate somebody who doesn't have an ego, right? You're not gonna fight back. You just don't care. You're just like, who cares about me? It's just ego, right? That's why you need an ego. Because if your ego doesn't stand up for yourself, nobody will. Your soul doesn't give a shit. Your soul is one with the all. Wait a second. Your soul doesn't give a shit? Do you really believe that? I lied to you. I lied to you. Of course your soul cares. You have convinced yourself that your soul doesn't. So that's the delusion. That's the true core of a wounded warrior. Let's get real here. This is really the issue, isn't it? You don't believe that you care, but you do. Because if you accept that you do want certain things. You want to be treated well, you want money in the bank, you want health, you want good work that you don't hate. You have a drive. Then you must accept it when it hurts that you don't get it. Because it requires work to get there. It requires suffering, conflicts. Oh, you don't like how you are treated? Then terminate the relationship. Grieve it and move on. So that's what the real issue is. You're not allowing yourself to grieve, to hurt, the pain. You're allowing yourself the pain of doing nothing. Being a quiet observer, just ignoring. Until you explode. Because the fire is burning you within. When it should be burning the enemy without. That's the fire. The fire is production. Mars is a planet of productivity. Industry. Forging. Creating. Building. Who's going to build anything without desire? Without ambition? The highest expression of Mars is ambition, Pluto. If your Pluto is weak, if your Mars is weak, you are weak. And if you are weak, you're not gonna get anything in this world. So wounded warrior it's a big problem. You see, it's not just something you can just ignore and just be like, yeah, whatever. I just ignore everything, I just be passive, I don't want to hurt anybody, so I hurt myself. Be left in the dirt, right? The wounded warrior is about self-actualization. To actualize your desires outwards. And then of course it creates conflicts with people whose desires conflict with yours. Yes, big deal. Their desires conflict with yours, then eliminate those people from your life. Or competition. Aries roots competition, right? So Mars does too. Then compete. Fight for your achievement. If you're not willing to fight, you're not gonna get anything. You don't deserve it. Because it's justice. Remember? So yeah, this is all I can say really in a short video about the wounded warrior archetype. Now if you found this video helpful, leave a like, and if you're interested in a personal natal chart reading to understand your Chiron, wherever it is placed, I'm available on Messenger, on Facebook, and we can take a look at your chart and see what's the lesson to be learned.